Tonight's date is July 25th, 2025, and we have a couple of things to talk about, but the main two topics will be severe weather and the heat wave across the U.S. For tonight on Friday, we just have a slight risk across North Dakota, South Dakota, and Montana, and we're not going to really take too much time to look at this because it is pretty much ongoing and almost over, but still we have a large marginal risk across the Ohio Valley and the Mid-Atlantic and Central U.S., and then a marginal risk out here into California and Nevada. Then if we look at our tornado risk, we do have 2% tornado risk, one into Minnesota and North Dakota, and then one into Kansas and Missouri. We also have a 15% wind risk, along with other 5% wind risk, and finally a 15% and 5% hail risk. As of 10:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time, we do have a large severe thunderstorm watch across North Dakota, and then we also have just a special weather statement for one storm up in here into northern North Dakota, but nothing really else is ongoing at this time besides a few other storms into the Dakotas. On Saturday, July 26th, we have a pretty large marginal risk here into the north central U.S. and also a marginal risk into the Midwest, Ohio Valley, and Mid-Atlantic. We also have a 2% tornado risk into North Dakota and Minnesota, along with 5% wind risk, and finally 5% hail risk in these areas here. For tomorrow on Saturday, we're going to have some energy in the mid-levels of the atmosphere, allow for storms to start to develop across parts of Montana, Wyoming, the Dakotas, even into Nebraska tomorrow. But really, as we get into about, I would say, 7 or 8 p.m. Central Daylight Time, we could see quite a few storms, and as you can see, there's our low pressure right there up into the Dakotas. Plenty of storm coverage up there. There will definitely be a wind risk with these storms if there is a line that develops, as the 0Z HRRR shows, so that'll be something to watch, especially even into northern North Dakota and northern Minnesota tomorrow evening, actually late tomorrow evening into early on Sunday. But that'll be the main threat for tomorrow, really across the north central U.S. and parts of the kind of northwestern U.S. Switching to the eastern U.S. tomorrow for Saturday, and so storms will be already ongoing across portions of the Midwest really by about 3 or 4 a.m. tomorrow Central Daylight Time on Saturday, and those storms could kind of move across the Midwest and actually weaken before the afternoon hours, but later on in the day you could see some more storm coverage or more storms start to develop across the Midwest and also into Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, upstate New York, even into Maryland, Delaware, Virginia, West Virginia, those areas, especially into the Great Lakes states as well. By tomorrow, late tomorrow evening, and even into early on Sunday, you could see quite a few storms and showers across the Northeast as you get into late tomorrow night and early on Sunday. And finally, looking at the day 3 convective outlook, and this is for Sunday, July 27th. And so we have 2 marginal risk, one into kind of the north central and midwestern U.S., and then one out here into the portions of the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic once again for Sunday. For Sunday on the GFS weather model, you can see all of our storms across the Mid-Atlantic and portions of the Ohio Valley, and then across the north central U.S. and midwestern U.S. Sunday night into early on Monday. Then continuing forward into Monday, you can see more storms across the mid-Atlantic and Ohio Valley into the southeast as well, and I think we could see some higher rain chances into the southeast. And so really by about the latter half of the week, you could see increased rain chances across the mid-Atlantic and southeast once again, even the central U.S. by later this week. And so that will bring some rain for sure, probably more daily rain chances across these areas, especially as we get later into next week and then finally into early August. Temperatures for tomorrow on Saturday could be quite warm across the southeast and central U.S., and some areas could see upper 90s to even temperatures hitting just above 100 degrees in the southeast, specifically into the Carolinas, North Carolina, Georgia, maybe the northern Florida panhandle, maybe across Texas, Oklahoma potentially, and as well as South Dakota and even maybe Kansas and even into Virginia as well there for tomorrow on Saturday. So these temperatures will be quite warm, and we'll not really see rain too much across these areas to cool things down. But thankfully into the Ohio Valley tomorrow, Could see some rain into those areas, so that will cool it down just a little bit, but still temperatures are going to be pretty warm tomorrow on Saturday. For the western US, things will be a little bit more pleasant. Temperatures only into the 60s and 70s for the west coast, and then as you get into the southwestern US, temperatures could get into the lower to mid 90s into Arizona, potentially even into New Mexico, but things will mostly stay into the 70s and 80s and low 90s across the western US. For Sunday, it's going to be another hot day with temperatures reaching well over 100 degrees into parts of the southeast and even the deep south, and also across the central US with for 80-degree temperatures expected into the other parts of the country. But into the northeast, you could see temperatures into the 60s and 70s, probably about the mid, maybe upper 70s in some of these areas. But most of those areas could be cooled down by rain, thankfully. And then looking at the western US for Sunday, so still quite pleasant across these areas compared to what you can usually expect. Temperatures into the 70s and 80s across portions of the west coast, really western US. And then as you get into New Mexico, Arizona, once again, seeing all those areas seeing into the lower to mid and even upper 90s, really mostly into Arizona. But looks like Arizona will probably be the warmest area into the western US for Sunday. Thankfully, though, some relief should be on the way within the next 6 to 10 days. So this is the 6 to 10 day Climate Prediction Center temperature outlook. And so the blue colors are below average temperatures and the red colors are above average temperatures. And so they highlight the area that could see the highest chance for below average temperatures into the Midwestern US and Northeastern US, even into the Southwestern US for the next 6 to 10 days. Then looking at the 8 to 14 day outlook, we have a pretty large area of below average temperatures into the north central US, Ohio Valley, northeast, even in the mid-Atlantic, and then near normal temperatures into portions of the southeast, really mid-south, central US, and then the western US, and deep south could probably see above average temperatures for the 8 to 14 day range. Well, that'll be just about it for tonight's update. I appreciate all of y'all watching, and I hope y'all have a great weekend.